via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content on info@millenniumnews24.com. Download the Millennium News 24 app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Stay tuned with Millennium TV and Millennium News 24 for the latest updates.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Jineea Butler, and we are live here on the New American Perspective on this Wednesday, Thanksgiving Eve. And we got so much to talk about before we go get that food. How many of you guys are eating the food? You? I know you are. I know you're ready to get full. Now, like I said, I've got Indian in my family, so I don't necessarily go so hard during the Thanksgiving season because I feel like the Indians, the Native Americans in America, we're being asked to be at our own table and celebrate the massacre of the Native Americans by way of the original Pilgrims, right? That's just how I feel. That's just my thing. But for all of you that celebrate and you take the time to be with your family, I know that there's cross promotions on how that goes, but it's there. So to everybody, happy Thanksgiving to you. It's a wonderful and a joyous occasion if you're taking out all the reasons why we do it. Everybody can't be happy all the time. So this is the New American Perspective, and I'm your host, Jineea Butler. If you didn't already know, thank you for tuning in. We're bringing you the truth from the culture, the community, and the corridors of power. Today, America is wild, right? To say the least. Politicians shaking hands, then calling each other fascists, celebrities taking the global stage, athletes rising, and cities being flipped upside down. But don't worry, we're going to break that all down for you today. And hopefully we have a couple guests. We got our G-check coming in a little while. So these are some of the topics that we're going to talk about today. And maybe you heard about them. If you have, chime in because we need to talk a little bit more about them. So we've got Nicki Minaj at the UN. Did you guys see that was going on? She was fly girl at the UN. I ain't mad at her, but on behalf of Trump. So some people, and what I'm calling the Black Patrol, has a problem. We've got the rise of Shador Sanders, right? And President Trump surprisingly jumps out and said, I told you so. He has good genes. If you remember in the beginning, Trump had said, give him a shot when he was going 5th round. Trump didn't like to see Shador going 5th round. So we'll talk about that later. Then we've got Mamdani versus Trump. What's up with that? And then Mamdani leaves the meeting and then called Trump a fascist. They're, shaking hands, they fighting, whatever. Then Mamdani, they say demanding, he asked them 179 resignations, asking 179 staffers to remain, but he asked Police Commissioner Tisch to stay on board. Now, I think that's game, right? So he doesn't lose the whole police force and lose New York in the process, but don't get me to talking. Then we've got Lil Hip Hop, Future, and FBG Casino. Their house was raided. There's a federal case going on. So is Future going to jail, people? He's got like 7 kids. People say that he's up in the Nick Cannon numbers, 11, 12, but he's only got 7 on paper. That's crazy that he probably doesn't even know, right? Because he's probably asking the wrong questions. Then we got Project Veritas. Some people may know about Project Veritas, James O'Keefe. He used to run Project Veritas. He took down CNN. He took down Planned Parenthood and a bunch of other people. So they collapsed because they've ousted him. And so now Project Veritas is gone, right? Candace Owens, my girl Candace out there fighting for her rights to party. Candace Owens says the French have put out a hit on her. Okay, there's money on her head. I'm sure it's $1 million plus, Candace, but not even to be laughing. That's nothing to be funny about. But that Candace Owens is saying that the United States government has confirmed that there have been hits put out on her. So what do you guys think about that? Then we've got Obamacare and Hakeem Jeffries, right? So Hakeem, Hakeem, he is pushing for the American people, and they want they want 3 more years of the Obamacare for the subsidies to go so they can get everything in line. So how do you feel about that? And then we've got still the shutdown and it's travel chaos. Are you out traveling right now? Tune in. I hope you're tuning in to me while you're watching, while you're at the airport waiting and hopefully not delayed and hopefully getting home to that turkey. Okay. Still, and the weather, and it's no good weather out here. I think I seen somebody lose a Walmart or something, a bunch of snow came into the Walmart, and where the hell were they? Because I didn't even know that was that much snow, let alone it being snowed in now. So, and then, we saw Puffy this week. So what do you think about that? Let's get into it. Okay, so Nikki's UN speech and the Black Patrol, what I'm calling the Black Patrol. Nicki Minaj spoke at on Christian persecution in Nigeria. Okay, so a bold global and unexpected cultural reset. Thank Trump, and she enraged the activists and the gatekeepers. Okay, she enraged them. So Tamika Mallory and Amanda Seals, what I call the Black Patrol, historically have tried to cancel her. Right? They police Black voices, they police Black thought, they police Black votes, and if you don't echo their script, you're exiled. And that is the Black Patrol. And I'm not saying that necessarily Tamika Mallory or Amanda Seals are the only two in this Black Patrol, but they're on the Black Patrol because we've got a bunch of Black people that want to only put us in a box and say how Black we can be and what we can do in America, and think that's okay when America's a free country, when all these things that we've gone through to get it. And then they use their line, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. I can't wait till somebody says that about me, and then I roll out my resume, a real resume. A real had to have a degree, had to have experience, working resume of being in Rikers Island, homeless services, youth services, and building our community, building our people. From the bottom to the top, what we talking about. Okay, then. So, on air, what she said was, Nikki, don't bow to the Black Patrol. Now, what I'm saying is, Nikki, don't bow to the Black Patrol. And she did it. She stood on truth, faith, and independence. Something a lot of folks are not brave enough to do. So Nicki Minaj stepped outside herself, went and supported an initiative that she was important to her, and they tried to blow her through the frames about it. And now, now here we are, Nikki. And so now they're talking about Nikki's baby. I think he may be little Papa Bear, maybe 5 or 6. I don't know if he's speaking. I haven't heard him speak. But speaking of leadership and courage, let's talk about a young man who had the whole NFL watching. Take a look. So Shador Sanders, many of you know, or don't know, Shedeur Sanders is the son of Deion Sanders, former NFL and Major League Baseball professional player, Deion Sanders, who was great at his time. So he has since taken a role and taken up his sons and gotten his two sons to the NFL. Now, only one son is still in the NFL. Shiloh, the other son, he got picked up and then he got bounced off the roster because he's punching people and he was angry. They made him angry. They worked him off. But now what they did to Shedeur is Shedeur was a 5th round pick in this the 2025 NFL draft, right? Which was crazy because he should have been at least in the 1st round. People thought that he was going to go top 5. Even his teammate Travis Hunter, who he's throwing the passes to, went in the 1st round. So how, if I'm throwing the passes to him, he go in the 1st round, and if I don't throw the passes to him and I don't throw good passes to him, how am I in the 5th round? But he got picked up in the 5th round. So most people think that this is because Shedeur is Deion's son. And we know it. Deion was very flashy. He was very, very vulgar. He was out there during the time. He was new. He was everything. And he did his thing. And so now they thought, and this is what they do to the Black community all over, because they thought that they could hold Shedeur down. And what Deion did was raise his children with the values and the love of God and instilled that in them. And they're shocking America right now. So what he had 209 yards. He threw for 209 yards, one touchdown, but he did have an interception. But that's okay, Shedeur. So the Browns win 24-10. So first Browns quarterback since 1995 to win his first start. So congratulations, young man. Trump responded on Truth Social. So I guess he's made it to the big leagues when Trump now responds. Trump's Shedeur Sanders was great. I told you so. That's what Trump said. And why this matters? It matters because this is redemption arc for Shedeur. Now, I saw them creating a monster, and I'm sure that we have talked about it here on the show about them creating this monster, right? That Shedeur was, he was suffering from what his father did or didn't do, right? And he stepped up to it. He stepped into it. He didn't back down. I'm sure the little boy was hurt, but we know that he prayed. I almost have tears for him right here because we know that he prayed. We know that that young man who may not even be, I don't know how old he's, maybe he's 21. I don't know how he is. I'll find out how old he's on a break, but maybe about 21. And he stepped up. So the Black culture and conservative praise create new narratives. Believe that. So this is why I tell young people, don't wait for validation. Work until your talent forces the world to speak your name, young people. And that, I had 1,000 points, 1,000 rebounds in college, reserved for the WNBA, did the damn thing during my time, and don't forget that, our bodies are only a certain way, right? For a certain time. Our bodies, we can run them out, so you got to use it while you have it. So young people, get out there and be the best that you can be. But politics, politics is showing out this week. And we're going to take a break in a minute, and we're going to come back with the Mamdani chaos, the Trump meeting, the fascist comment after the meeting. He's asking for 179 resignations, but he's keeping Tish. We'll be right back here on the New American Perspective. I'm your host, Jineea Butler, and we'll be right back. And we are back. Okay, so like I said, we're going to talk about Mom Dami. We're going to say New York Mom Dami or New York Zohan. I forget what his hip hop name is. We might need to call him by his hip hop name because he is hip hop, by the way. And we did talk about Busta Rhymes and LL Cool J being governors and having a new political party in New York. So welcome, Mom Dami. I think he heard some of that. Excuse my eyelashes all twisted as always. The Asians then ripped my eyelashes off. Now I got to work with it. Okay, even whatever. So anyway, the Trump Mom Dami meeting. Okay, there were smiles in the Oval Office, warm words. Everybody, when they seen the meet, and we thought that somebody was going to have come out with a black eye. We had no idea. So Trump said, we agree on more than I thought. Who knew that? The what? Then Mandambi calls Trump a fast as soon as he leaves days later. He says that's not leadership. That's performance art. Shaking a man's hand in private and attacking him in public. And I'm saying that. I don't like, even though that Trump said, oh, you can say whatever you want to say. I've been called worse. So I would like to know what really happened and what really transpired in this meeting here, because it seems like it was a lot more than we're looking at. So Mom Dami orders 179 Adams staffers to resign. Now, he says he's asking them to quit, so that when you quit, I don't know, wait, so are they getting a package? I think I'm gonna get fired, because I think I'm gonna go ahead and get my cushion for my unemployment and everything that comes with that in New York City. Because when you resign, you can't collect unemployment, to my understanding. Now, if there's something different, people, let me know. Okay, let me know. So there's a massive purge, obviously, but every time that a new mayor or anything comes in, it is, it's time for everybody else to go, right? Everybody else definitely has to go. I'm sharing. Let me just share this now. Everybody has to go, right? So signals. So he's, we already know what he's trying to do. Like I said, now he kept Jessica Tisch. Now, not that saying that she's bad or anything like that. She's been doing a good job. She has been. But I'm sure that he didn't want to wake up the NYPD. They already said that 5,000 of them are leaving. Now there's 35,000 NYPD. Now, I forget who had said that they wanted like more. And he's like, 35,000 is good for me. And there's a bunch of calls for mental health things. And we need to focus on that versus doing all this policing. Okay. He might have something there. Okay. He's like, how could the police focus on police work if they're going and doing mental observations? And that's true. And that's why some people have gotten shot over the years, because people have been doing mental evaluations and they haven't been doing them well, or they haven't been doing mental evaluations and then basically saying, look, what had happened was he reached for it, but this guy was mentally ill, right? This guy running around with a knife was mentally ill, and you shot him and didn't give him a chance to live. And so there is something in there. I don't want to say that we need more police, because more police, get more attitudes. My thing in New York, though, I don't know if you all have seen this, but these cops are young. And that's a problem for me too, because where y'all coming from? these new cops. They're young. And it's like you're talking to younger people. I got stopped the other day by a sheriff for parking tickets. Now, I have a huge problem with this. This is parking tickets. I got stopped for parking tickets, and they told me that I got to pay half of the parking tickets that I owe, or they gonna pull me out my car and impound my car, pay the tickets now. Now this is going to get rough, New York. Mark my words. This is why I'm not dealing with New York anymore. I'm really done with all of this, eating its citizens. Mom Dami, first thing you need to do is talk about how we are not going to eat our citizens, because you're eating the citizens. If I'm driving down the road, going to a meeting, that's trying to get me some more money, then you stop me in the middle of that meeting and say, hey, we're stopping you because you owe parking tickets. No kidding. Can you be in New York and not owe parking tickets, especially if you in these Black communities that y'all target? We need to sue New York City, by the way, because now we've got congestion pricing, of course. We've got 25 miles an hour, of course. Now we've got these sheriffs running around trying to pick people's pockets during the holiday season, after a government shutdown, after we are trying to get ourselves together. Does that really make sense? No. But he keeps Jessica Tisch. Now, I think that his plans that he has are going to get even worse, because what happens is that when you're looking for money, right? See, I think that this is all illegal, how the parking tickets balloon from $35 to $170. And if you don't go to court, if you don't take off a day of work and then can't park downtown and can't do all of this to pay the parking tickets, right? If you don't do all of that, then you got a $175 ticket and they holding you to it. And they saying, well, it's too long and we just want the money, and they're going to impound your car. They're stealing cars in New York. They're stealing cars in New York, people. And I think I have a problem with it. I don't know if you have a problem with it, but I really have a problem with it. But next, so the same NYB commissioner, the left wanted gone. So now the left wanted Jessica Tisch gone, but she's still there. And that's because the Mom Dami recognized that the police force is behind her. And if he fires her now, let's be clear, he didn't say that she's going to stay for the duration of my terms. He says, I'm going to retain her in my transition, and she'll have her job come January. Okay, so when the campaign fantasies meet real world responsibility, people change their tune and real fast. So it's all becoming very, very clear. And while New York is flipping upside down, another story is shaking. Hip hop. We always got to talk about hip hop. What's up with your boy Future? Now, I never knew that Future was in any bad things. They're saying that, a case might come on him, right? He's FBG Casino. So I'm assuming that FBG Duck is cool with FBG Casino. I don't know these ASAPs, and, they got all these beginning words to go with who you are. You put your set in front of you now, and you say FBG. I'll find out what that means. But anyway, so there is Future has 7 confirmed children. I said that because when we talk about Future, all we talk about is his kids. I didn't think that he was up to nothing. He has a son with former girlfriend Sierra that is with Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson just adopted Future's son, rightfully named Future, with Sierra. So, but what happened, FBG Casino, Future's brother, was hit and with federal fentanyl charges. What? See, I don't respect anybody on the all fentanyl team. Let me just tell y'all that right now. I do not respect that, because how are you pedal pushing fentanyl when you know what the results are. You're going to jail, and they're sending you to jail for murder. I think the guy who sold Michael K. Williams his last dose had fentanyl in it, and I believe that they got a murder charge. So is it worth it, people? In 2025 with all the cameras, all the is the drug dealing worth it? I don't know. But he got caught with 21 kilos of fentanyl, 308,000 cash. So now you done lost all that. That hurt. I know that hurt. I don't care who you are. You lose $380,000 in cash. Dummy. Gun and drug paraphernalia. So he's going to jail. He's facing 10 years to life. So is Future going to get arrested? We're hearing no so far. We're hearing completely no. There's no public implication that he has been, there's no public indication that he has been implicated on this. So we're going to go ahead and say that Future was not involved, but his reputation will take a hit. What do you think? Tap in, put it in the comments. Success don't shield you from the streets. Your people are still in. That was deep, right? Success doesn't shield you from the streets. Your people are still in. So meaning that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you're talking about and what you're saying, okay? Because this is really ridiculous. Okay, so Project Veritas, James O'Keefe, this is somebody I met in the past and somebody I thought that was really awesome and really breaking down stuff. But Project Veritas was once a conservative watchdog. They changed America in a lot of ways. He started the recordings and recording everybody, and you could hear, everything that was going on. He had blew up CNN. He blew up Planned Parenthood. But now he was ousted. And now it's just a shell organization. It's a shame because we need watchdogs like this. But they had sued him. They had went through so much. He was a good guy. But when movements lose integrity, they lose power. So remember that. So, rest in peace, Project Veritas. Candace Owens. What about your girl, Candace Owens? Now, she's been big in the news talking about Charlie Kirk and everything Charlie Kirk. And she claims there was an assassination plot against her. She said the French Macron, the French Macron basically says that somebody, who is it? Who is it? Stop knocking on my door. Join me, Jineea Butler, for the New American Perspective every Wednesday at 12 noon for an in-depth look of education, politics, economics, and entertainment from Republican and conservative views. The first of its kind on the Millennium News 24 and the Millennium TV 24 network. We will conceptualize and debate the rights and wrongs of the society, and together we will build the new American perspective and share it with the rest of the world. You can tune in on all iOS and Android platforms, branded smart TVs, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV. If you're around the world, Horizon Satellite. If you're in Europe or Australia, the Sky Network. Tune in to MillenniumNews24.com or Millennium TV 24.com. All social media, Millennium News 24. We're live and have the podcast at the same time, I am a citizen, and this is our perspective. No. Ooh, did you see that? I am back. This is Jineea Butler with the New American Perspective. Sorry about that. We had a weird roamer knocking on the doors, running from side to side. I'm not sure who it is. I hope that person is okay, but it doesn't have anything to do with us. So we were talking about Candace Owens. Candace Owens claims that she had an assassination plot against her. She says that French officials warned her of the threats, and controversial, unverified, and politically explosive. When you speak truth to power, when you speak to truth that threatens power, the pushback is not imaginary. Okay, so she threatened a lot of people. She said the French President Macron, his wife, was born a man, and now she's saying that they are trying to kill her. And now your rapid fire headlines. Okay, so we got the government shutdown fallout, air traffic controller crisis, Thanksgiving travel chaos, storms across the Northeast, Obamacare subsidies fight with Hakeem Jeffries, Cash Patel firing rumors, Diddy sightings from Fort Dix, from an unverified source. That's the crazy part. Epstein file updates, and that is crazy. So, this is the New American Perspective, and we don't follow narratives, we dissect them. We don't wait for leaders, we become them. Right? So, right here on the New American Perspective, we've got you in the house, and tell us a little bit about how you feel about what's going on. If you're an entrepreneur, a small business owner, or a community leader who wants to showcase your brand or your platform, tap in. Our show reaches people who create culture, build business, and change lives. The power is in your hands. So where are we today, people? I just want to take some time to talk about what we have already talked about. We talked about Nicki Minaj at the New UN. Is that okay? Is it okay for the Black Patrol to come out and say you ain't nothing, and you can't do that, and police who we are, police our Black vote, police our Black voice, police what we're doing and how we're doing it? Is that okay? Is that what we need? Do we need a patrol of people telling us when we're out of the lines, when telling us that they're going to use their influence to stop you from moving forward? And who are they, right? Who are they to decide and determine what is good for us? Are we in a good place for us to be listening to you? I don't know. I don't know about that one. I don't know that if I listen to you, that my place is better off, or that I am better off because of you. I don't know, right? And so let's examine, let's get a lot more into excuse me, the Black Patrol. Then we have Shador Sanders, of course. Shador, he is going to be the next. Excuse me. Kendrick Perkins said that Shador is as big right now as Barack Obama. The Shador wave. And well, it was great, and they kind of set him up for greatness. Now, here's my thing though. Do we always want to point to the athletes that are great and say these athletes, these entertainers, it's like Barack Obama effect? People are going to go out. I almost want to buy one of his his jerseys. I almost want to buy one of his jerseys. But is it okay for us to put him on the level and give him the level of responsibility, right, that Shador has um now? Now he did get the starting position, okay? So he did get the starting position, and so he's in there. He's in there like Flinware. So now what happens? So his next game, is he going to go through these, because let's be fair. The Raiders team wasn't a great team. Okay? The Raiders team was not a great team for Shador to be jumping on anyway. Okay? So was that, because I remember I told you I went to the Raiders game, and so I seen the Raiders play, and they look like a college or high school team. But good, it was a great start for him. So they're talking about the coach. They're saying the coach didn't, the coach said, "Great job, Shador. Welcome." Meaning that he made his mark. They being tough love. Everybody wanted him to give them the game ball and all of that. But the Browns head coach, they probably forced him to take on Shador, and he probably has mixed feelings about the whole thing. And I don't know. But I'm saying that Shador he has arrived. And so he's going to make big money. His first contract being fifth round wasn't that good, but his next contract is going to be great. They already have money. So they was hating on him from the beginning. And Trump and Mamdani, what is going to come of that? Do you think that Trump is going to cut off some of that Mamdani money? Do you think that's going to happen? Do you think it's going to happen? I don't know. So then you have the 179 resignations. Who is he going to hire? He already knows who he's going to hire. I know that one of the hip hop people got picked up for the transition team. And so I think it's going to be something. Okay. Rocky Buchanan, he's on a transition team. So at least hip hop could trust that we're going to be represented in the Mamdani administration. But to what avail? Everybody goes for self. What are you going to do? Are you going to go for self? What are we going to hear? I want to see what happens. Is Trump going to cut off the money to New York? What do you think is going to happen? Do you think that Commissioner Tish is going to resign after Mamdani gets to going into 2025? Now, no, we all love New York, so we don't want to see New York hit the deck, right? We don't want to see New York hit the deck, but we all love it. We are all in tune. And hey, then we got a lot of hip hop stuff going on. You got Candy and Todd, they're breaking up. And sometimes I look at this stuff and I say, what do we want with this information? Candy and Todd having a divorce, and she talking about she had the threesomes, and Candy is from the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and she got her big fame and then married her husband on it, and then now that everything is falling apart, they're divorcing, and they made a lot of money. And I don't know how you divorce after having an opening show with Denzel Washington on Othello on Broadway. Was it Othello? Well, whatever show Denzel was just on with, was it Othello? Because it was a two-man show. Jake Gyllenhaal, or whatever his name is. But yeah, so on they just had the best showing on Broadway. So they made all that money. So she good. Don't forget, Candy then wrote songs. She good. She been in a whole bunch of sitcoms and movies, and she doing her thing. And of course, she's from the group Escape. Now, Todd, he's from Harlem, and her late mother, had said, "No, we ain't with it." All this stuff. But why are we talking about this, people? Is it going to make us money? Is it going to make the Black community better? Is it going to make the Black community stronger? Are these people making the Black community stronger and better? What are we saying? You got Blueface coming out with all, he might as well just tattoo the whole face, ink his whole face up, because he ruined his beautiful young face with all these tattoos over it. He was messing with a girl that was 45. Then he said the girl was too old because she wanted basic stuff, and whatever. Whack 100. Why are we in tune with it? What is it that we want from these people? Are they just entertainment? Are we just being entertained by these people, or are we addicted? Let me know. Candace Owens. Now, did she bring this on herself? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Candace brought it on herself, what her script was, or what she's talking about. But I know that she's scared now. Now she stopped her show. I don't know if they could throw a missile and find you where the show is at. Do they know where you live, Candace? Have you moved? Okay, because I know Candace been talking big shit. Excuse my language. She's been saying Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated in October, which was a good friend of hers from Turning Point. She was talking about how he was assassinated and how all the French people was a part of that too, and she was talking all of this and all of that. Now they're saying that Candace was right about a lot of things. Candace pulled out the Black Lives Matter, spending all of the donations on $1 million houses. She pulled that out. Give her some credit for that. She pulled out, what else did Candace pull out? She pulled out a couple things. She pulled out that Puffy was coming up with something that, there was some indictments going on around Puffy. So she got some inside information somewhere. She does her research decently well. Okay. But now she's the assassination plot. So is she going to be talking as tough as she has been talking, or is she going to go back? Oh, and how could we forget Letitia James and James Comey? Lady forgot that, obviously. But how could we forget Letitia James and James Comey being their cases dismissed? So now we got Pam Bondi. We've got Cash Patel. We don't know if these people are getting fired. So what happened was Trump appointed, they switched out a new judge that was going to prosecute Comey and Letitia James. So a judge dismissed the case with prejudice. So basically, they have to bring the case back to the forefront with prejudice, meaning that they have to bring it back up in the court and present it all the way again. They have to get indicted again. But right now, there's dismissed. So shout out to Letitia James for fighting back, right? But was that just a bump in the law? Because Trump is not going to stop. You didn't stop. So Trump is not going to stop. Not that I think that the cases are anything that we should be talking about for Letitia James, or I'm not sure exactly what the James Comey is, but they went on Trump. They went hard body, the Russia collusion, all the stuff. They impeached him. They did all of this stuff to stop him from winning the presidential election, and he won anyway. So what do we really have to say about that, right? Do we stop this man from, they tried to stop this man from basically not winning the presidential election. We all saw it. They were bringing up all kinds of charges and everything like that. And now we see the opposite of that, because now we see the opposite where, they're actually blocking for them. They're actually blocking everything, that Trump wants to do, that Trump wants to have. And that's why he wants to keep the majority. So we're also hearing that Cash Patel, the FBI director, may have some firing rumors out there. Now we're hearing that he's using he's using the public stuff, for his girlfriend. He's protecting his girlfriend. I mean, he needs to get out there, get out of here, because he is not, anyway. He just shouldn't be the FBI director, because I think that he's too far in the world. Just a minute ago, him and Dan Bongino, they were over there. They were all conspiracy theorists, and now they're running the FBI. It's a little dangerous. We don't know what he's doing, and nobody is policing him. But the reports say that he is not being fired. They say that he is not being fired, and that he's not on the chopping block. Okay, so let me just see, what else do we have to talk about today. I got your pictures. Oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene. So we're hearing that Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'm sure you heard by now. And so let's go to a break and come back with Marjorie Taylor Greene news and more on Millennium News 24. I'll talk to you in a minute. And we are back here on Millennium News 24. I'm your host, Jineea Butler. Absent today is A.B. Butler and the G-Check. He's down south. He will be back. He might be popping in today. I thought he was popping in. So let me just bring up a couple things before we go in this last 15 minutes. Let's see. A federal judge recently dismissed the criminal cases against Comey and James. We know that. The charges were dropped because the prosecutor who brought them, Lindsay Halligan, was found to have been illegally appointed. The indictments were dismissed without prejudice, meaning they could be refiled under the appointed prosecutor. We just talked about this, right? The dismissals represent a serious blow to what many see as a politically charged prosecution campaign, and raise broader legal, constitutional, and reputational questions about justice being used as a weapon. But see, this is where I go ham, because it was already used as a weapon. It's been used as a weapon. Puffy being in jail is it being used as a weapon, right? Meanwhile, Pete Hegseth, a vocal figure in conservative media and politics, recently ordered the Navy Secretary to investigate the U.S. Senator Mark Kelly for potential unlawful comments. Okay, so they dismissed those, and then here they go again. So this on if prosecutors can be appointed illegally, okay, this is just a thought. If prosecutors can be appointed illegally and still bring indictments, then what does this say about the fairness of our justice system? Is it fair? Justice delayed. We know it's not fair. Those of us in the community know it's not fair. But what happens when it's now on this level, when it's over our heads, right? Justice delayed or justice denied. When the process is flawed, it doesn't matter what you're accused of. You ride the wave of chaos, right? This isn't about innocence or guilt. This is about whether power chooses the full Constitution or their own agenda, which is crazy, right? On political weaponization, this was a prosecution that felt political from day one. Yeah. And this is what we say, like, we know this, but so how come this wasn't happening, and how come that we didn't have to investigate this when they were doing all this to Trump? And, some people just don't like Trump, so they don't want to see they don't care what you do to him, but I care because I feel like when the government, I'm not going to say the Democrats, but when the government wants to put you under a microscope, wants to put you in jail, you're going to jail. I feel like that. Now, Trump obviously doesn't have the same power that the other folks do, right? He doesn't have the same power. And it's just a bigger picture. We've got to look at the big picture, because when the system fails to follow its own rules, it erodes trust. And once trust is gone, power becomes darkness. Ew. Black folks, small business owners, and everyday people, we need a justice system that works for us, not against us. Now, like I said, what's happening in New York, that's not justice, riding up on a car. And so, people, thankfully, I was able to pay the price for my parking tickets, for half of my parking tickets, balloon parking tickets. I probably paid them 10 times now with the balloons and everything like that. But we need a justice system that looks at really what we are. So I'm hoping, just like everybody else, that Mom Dami may really be serious about New York. I think he's serious about New York, but I think that we always get pushed to the bottom no matter how we look at it. So I'm not sure. Let me just make sure that I touched on all your stuff. Aha, the Cash Patel firing. Let's see what are fueling these rumors. I'm ready for him to go, because I don't like his look. I don't like. He seems a little. I don't know. Allegations of misuse of government services. Reports say Patel assisted the SWAT team protection to his girlfriend. Excuse me. Patel assigned. Excuse me. I didn't know I was going to say that. But Patel assigned SWAT team protection to his girlfriend, a country singer, and used government jet for personal travel. You're out of here, buddy. You're fired. Now, I think Trump is probably just like, you're going to make me look bad if I fire you, so I'm not going to fire you yet. Get it right. Unflattering headlines and negative press coverage. According to a recent report by a media outlet, senior aides to Donald Trump are frustrated by the wave of controversies around Patel and are allegedly weighing ouster. Okay. Some on the political right reportedly expect Patel to move rapidly on high profile investigations, like releasing certain files or acting aggressively. Some feel he hasn't delivered fast enough, which may be eroding confidence among allies. So we know we talking, Jeffrey Epstein and the stuff that came out about him, and we need more. We need more. We want more. Okay. With political batteries ahead, investigations, national security issues, the upcoming holiday chaos, and public scrutiny, any misstep by top law enforcement leadership becomes louder, making Patel a potential liability. The White House quickly denied the rumors. Spokespeople said the report suggesting Patel's removal is completely made up, even posting a photo of Patel standing with Trump as proof he is still in good standing. You know how Trump is. He's going to give you a chance before he says, "You're out of here." Trump himself told reporters aboard Air Force One that Patel is doing a great job and a direct public show of support. No official dismissal order has been issued. Patel remains the acting director of the FBI. Oh, he's only the acting director? Oh, acting director of the FBI. That's good. I got to go into more of that. This is the rumor versus fact. The original report of removal intentions comes from unnamed sources, meaning we can't independently verify their claims. That makes it possible but unconfirmed. Some controversies are public and documented, but it's unclear whether these alone are enough to trigger an actual firing under the current political conditions. If Trump fires Cash Patel right now, it would be tragic because they would go on him. You got Margie Taylor Greene resigning, but is she running for president? Is that what we're hearing? Is that Margie Taylor Greene is running for president? Now, she had a big problem with Trump, right? And so now she go ahead and she says, I'm resigning. Let me get out his way. And then since she's got all of the buzz and stuff, I mean, she might not win as president, but she can make a lot of money as a nominee. You know what I'm saying? Let's get into politics here. This is the New American's perspective. Let's talk about it. The original report of removal intentions comes from unnamed sources, but meaning we can't independently verify the claims. So we don't know. So we don't know if he's being removed or what. And we're not gonna say it. Yeah, I would, if I was Trump, I would let them go real quietly. I wouldn't say nothing because right now it's not it. The other thing that happened is the nursing reclassification under the professional degree rule, which I think is crazy. I don't know. So listen, under a newly passed law, One Big Beautiful Act, the education department updated its rules about graduate level degrees count as professional degrees. What? As of this change, nursing and related fields, the nurse practitioner, the physician's assistant, and physical therapy are being excluded from the list of programs deemed professional. Now, we need these nurses, Trump. I don't know what we talking about or what we doing, but we need these nurses, and we need these nurses to feel like they're important and professional. So let me be the first to say that that means that nursing grad students will lose access to higher student loan borrowing caps. So you can't borrow as much money to go into this field. Reserved for professional students, instead of up to $50,000 per year or $200,000 total, they be limited to a lower graduate loan maximums. That's $20,000 a year and $100,000 total. Now that's a big blow. That's a big blow for people that want to help people. I think that we really need to rethink that. If people are borrowing money and the policy is technically a financial aid classification, not a value judgment, meaning the government claims it's about loan eligibility and not respect or worth of a profession. Now, you want to say that, but we all like, nurse is not a professional. What? Nursing organizations warned that this will make advanced nursing degrees much harder to finance, which threatens staffing pipelines, especially for high need specialties and underserved regions. Okay, many nursing grads and hopefuls depend on federal loans to afford costly programs with caps lowered. Some may drop out and never start their advanced studies. Critics argue it's if it the portion disproportionately hits women and marginalized communities. That's us. Yeah, that's us. Since many of these careers are female dominated. At the time when the US already suffers from nurse shortages and healthcare strains, cutting support for nurse education could worsen access to care nationally. So what's up with Trump and them not wanting to get the health of America right? I mean, I guess it is population control. So don't forget, in population control, they only think 500,000 people need to be in this world. 500,000. 500,000. That means that me and you aren't here. 500,000. They want the top 1%. They want the performing percent. They want all of that. Okay. So we're in a place, we're in America, and this is the new America, people. And this is the new America perspective. So we've got to figure out what we're doing, how we're doing it, how we're going to fight back, if we need to fight back, what we need to fight for, and who we need to fight for. So lastly, on our last couple of seconds, we're going to talk about Puff Daddy in Fort Dix jail. So we seen him coming in and out of the jail, doing his thing. And so he looked like he was smiling. He was working in the library, and I guess he's reading up books and getting, we're going to see a smarter, better Puffy when he comes out. But I know those homeboys. I worked on Rikers Island, and I know them homeboys are going to school Puffy. So this is our show for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me. It's a pleasure to see you. Can't wait to see you next week. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Don't get too fat. And I'll see you next week here on the New American Perspective here on Millennium News 24. News that you could use. Signing out.